In the next few minutes, you'll learn to test the difference between wanting and assuming, a micro-action rule that changes behavior, and a return protocol for the moments you drop back into lack. Then I'll walk you through 2 complete cases and a 4-week plan, without inflating. To keep it simple, today, you don't have to change your life. You just need one small piece of evidence you can repeat. In this video, you'll learn the difference between wanting and assuming, and how to build a behavior pattern from a state of wholeness, not lack. Before we begin, this doesn't replace therapy, medical care, or professional advice. It's a practice of attention, emotion, and behavior. Let's start with a short practice, as an orientation you can do later, in a calm moment. When you do it, pick something simple you want. First, notice how your body reacts when you think, "I want it." Then change the question to, "How would I feel if this were already true?" Just observe the difference. Don't force it. That difference is the starting point. If today is a heavy day, don't try to climb the whole ladder. Do the minimum. 3 breaths. 1 relief line. Okay, I don't have to solve everything right now. 1 2-minute step. A tiny beginning. That already counts as practice. And in many cases, that's the hardest part. Doing the small thing when you wanted to do the big thing. And one important reminder. If you're dealing with intense anxiety, depression, grief, or a truly difficult season, use this as a complement and seek the right support when it makes sense. The goal here isn't to convince you of anything. It's to give you agency in small steps. Neville Goddard called this assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. And Bob Proctor insisted on an idea that keeps this grounded. You don't change your life by wanting harder. You change it by changing identity, choices, and consistency. Practical translation, without mysticism. In many cases, when you shift your inner state, you shift how you perceive, decide, and sustain actions. And that tends to increase probabilities and create real opportunities. A quick map to locate yourself in seconds. Sign of lack. The thought comes with urgency. I need to fix this. The body tightens, and action becomes proof. Sign of wholeness. The thought comes with simplicity. 1 step. The body loosens a little, and action becomes expression. 2 diagnostic questions, 10 seconds each. 1. Am I trying to convince someone, or am I trying to lead myself? 2. Is this a step I'd take with dignity, or a step I'm taking from fear? And an important warning to avoid a classic mistake. Assuming is not denying a problem, and it's not pretending to be happy. If you use wholeness to avoid a hard conversation, avoid action, or neglect your body, that isn't wholeness. It's escape. The right practice doesn't take you out of life. It puts you back into life with more clarity. In short, inner state, attention, emotion, action, probability. Not as a promise, as a process. 2 common confusions that ruin the practice. Confusion. 1. If I feel wholeness, I stop wanting. No. You can still want things. The difference is where you want from. A desire can be clean and simple, or it can be a hole of lack. What changes is the tone. When it becomes a hole, you start negotiating with life. If I get this, then I'll be okay. When it becomes a process, you take a small step because it's coherent, not because you need to be saved. Confusion 2. Assuming means believing strongly. In practice, assuming means leading yourself. You choose a slightly better state and act from it. In many cases, belief comes later as a consequence of evidence. Mini test, 20 seconds, to know if you're on track. If you feel clearer and take a small step, good. If you feel more pressure and try to take a giant step, that's lack in disguise. And one line that keeps you grounded. I don't control outcomes. I train state and consistency. Technique 1, the state ladder, relief, safety, wholeness. The most common mistake here is trying to jump straight into wholeness when the body is deep in scarcity. When you force it, you create resistance. Instead, use the latter. 1. Relief, the minimum available. Okay, I don't have to solve everything right now. 2. Safety, I can take one small step with clarity. 3. Wholeness, for a few seconds. I'm already the kind of person who lives this. And then you use a short identity line. I am someone who... Microstory, 20s. Emily wanted to change jobs. In the morning, she repeated, I want a new job, and felt tightness. When she switched to, who would I be if I already had a routine I respect? She didn't become euphoric. She became relieved and dignified. From that state, the line worked. I am someone who delivers value calmly. Success criterion. You can touch wholeness for a few seconds without punishing yourself when you drop. Returning is the practice. How to choose an identity line without turning it into a pretty sentence. It must be 1% believable today. If the sentence makes you feel ashamed or angry, it's too high. It must point to behavior, not destiny. I'm someone who returns to basics works better than I'm someone who already won. It must fit a looser body. If you can only say it with a tight chest, go down one step. Examples of 1% believable lines. I am someone who takes the next step calmly. I am someone who returns to the present when I speed up. I am someone who communicates with respect, even when nervous. A common mistake, and a correction that saves weeks. Mistake. Using the line as a band-aid over a panicked body. Correction. Before the line, do a minimal physical signal of relief. Release the jaw, drop the shoulders, take 3 breaths. The line comes after, not before. Common objection. But I feel fake saying, I am someone who. Answer. That's expected, especially at the start. You're not trying to believe 100%. You're training a new pathway. That's why the 1% believable rule matters. The line isn't to impress anyone. It's to remind you of the behavior you choose when you're more available. A simple way to make the line true in practice. End with a small action. Example. Line. I am someone who returns to basics when I freeze. 2-minute action. Open the file. Write the first line. Send the simple message. Organize the next task. Mini practice. 60-90s as orientation. 3 breaths. Name it. Lack. Choose a 1% believable line. Do a 2 to 5 minute micro action immediately after. That creates a short cycle. You regulate state, you take a small step, and you create a visible behavior trail. And that trail is what sustains identity. An important block. Wanting versus assuming, without confusing it with denying reality. To keep it concrete, notice 3 differences you can observe in real life. 1. The question changes. Wanting. How do I make this happen fast? Assuming. What's the next step that fits who I've chosen to be? 2. The inner tone changes. Wanting usually comes with pressure and urgency. Assuming usually comes with simplicity. Okay, this. 3. The action type changes. Wanting tends to produce a big, intense burst, then a crash. Assuming tends to produce small, repeatable actions. Quick example, 30s. When someone thinks, I need to be more confident, they often try to prove confidence with a big gesture. When they assume a more available state, they do a small thing confident people do. They hold one simple sentence, they ask clearly, they keep a commitment. Check question, self-assessment. Is today's step repeatable for 7 days? If not, it's probably coming from lack. Useful counterexample. Some days you'll be tired, sad, irritated. Assuming is not erasing that. Assuming is, even like this, I can take one small step without destroying myself. That's emotional maturity, not theater. 2 complete cases, and only 2, Case 1. Communication at work. Fear of being less. Situation. You're about to speak in a meeting, and the thought arrives fast. I'm not assertive. That's lack disguised as realism. Notice the trick. The mind turns a moment. I'm nervous. Into an identity. I'm not. Micro story, 30s. Michael enters a meeting with a good idea, but sees someone speaking with force. His body tightens. The mind offers an elegant exit. Stay quiet so you don't look stupid. He doesn't need to become a different person in 10 seconds. He needs to choose a step that is small, respectful, and repeatable. 60-second application. Ladder, relief, drop shoulders. Safety. I can be clear in one sentence. Wholeness. I'm someone who communicates with respect. Short line. I am someone who speaks with clarity and respect. Micro action of the day. I'll give you the rule in a second. Write one sentence you want to say in the simplest possible way, and then say only that sentence. How to make the sentence concrete, so it doesn't become motivation. I suggest we test this for 1 week and review. I have a question about the timeline. Can we adjust? I can take this part if the priority is X. Common error, trying to be assertive and turning aggressive, sarcastic, or defensive. Correction. Assertiveness here is clarity. Plus respect, not winning. Return protocol, 30s, during the meeting. Name it, lack, normalize. It's a pattern. Take 3 breaths, choose relief, and return to 1 sentence. Simple metric, self-assessment. After the meeting ask, did I say my 1 sentence? If yes, you created evidence. If not, you didn't fail. You discovered where the body still freezes, and that becomes tomorrow's adjustment. Case 2. Anxiety and peace, when the body speeds up. Situation. You wake up thinking, I need peace. But need becomes pressure, and pressure accelerates. Micro story, 30s. Sarah wakes up and before coffee she's already trying to solve her entire life in her head. The more she tries to control, the faster the body goes. The goal here is not to become zen. It's to reduce pressure enough to recover the next step. 60-second application. Ladder, relief. I only need to get through this morning. Safety. I can do one thing at a time. Wholeness. I'm someone who returns to the present. Short line. I am someone who returns to the present gently. Micro action of the day. Pick one repeatable presence point. For example, drink water slowly for 20 seconds, or walk 3 minutes without your phone. It sounds simple, but simple creates consistency. Common error. Turning the presence point into a perfect task. I must meditate for 20 minutes. And quitting on day 3. Correction. A presence point is a marker, not a complex ritual. If it's small enough to fit a bad day, it works. Quick diagnostic question. Am I trying to feel peace to escape what I must do? Or to do it with more clarity? If it's escape, go back to relief and choose a simple micro-action. The invisible point that connects both cases. At work and in anxiety, the pattern is the same. You're trying to get rid of a bad state, instead of placing yourself in a slightly better state and acting from it. And here's the detail that often changes everything. You don't have to believe the state. You have to practice the state. And in practice, that means doing a small behavior that matches it. 2 very short examples. If you want more clarity, the behavior is 1 simple sentence. If you want more presence, the behavior is a repeatable presence point. It seems too small to change your life. And precisely because it's small, it works. Small is repeatable. Repeatable becomes habit. Habit becomes identity. Quick checklist, 30 seconds before acting. Can I reduce pressure by 5% right now? What's the simplest sentence I can sustain? What's the smallest step that creates evidence today? Technique 2. The micro-action rule, 1 per day. 1 rule, 1 micro-action per day. that you would do even if you already had it. Key question: if I were already living this, what natural, small action would I do today? Short guide, no endless list. Keep it small. 5 to 10 minutes. Make it specific. One thing that fits today. Do it as expression, not desperation. Check the body. If it feels like heavy obligation, go down one step on the ladder. 3 filters that make the rule practical and prevent self-deception. 1. Doable. Can I do this even on a hard day? 2. Evidence. Does this leave a visible trail of identity, even if only for me? 3. Next step. Is this a beginning, a middle, or an end? If it's an end, it's too big. Counterexample to avoid inflating. I will reorganize my entire life today. That's anxiety disguised as discipline. Correction. I will do the first step for 5 minutes. One complete example, career. Instead of I'll change my life, the micro action is I'll write 3 lines of what I do well and send one genuine message to someone in the field. 3 categories, so it doesn't turn into a catalog. Body, sleep, movement, food. I'll walk 10 minutes and drink water before coffee. Relationships, message, conversation, boundary. I'll send one simple, honest message without pressure. Building, study, creation, organization. I'll open the file and write 2 lines just to begin. Fast choice rule. If your lack is in the body, start with the body. If it's loneliness, a social fear, start with relationships. If it's direction, purpose, start with building. If you can't choose a category, use this quick tiebreaker. If your chest is tight and your mind is racing, pick body. Regulate first. If you're ruminating about what people think, pick relationships. One clean message or one clean boundary. If you feel stuck and avoidant, pick building, a 2-minute beginning. And if you still can't choose, do the safest universal step, 3 breaths, plus water, plus a 2-minute beginning. It's small, but it reliably turns thinking about change into doing something real. One rule that prevents inflation: don't mix all 3 categories in the same day. If you try to fix body plus relationships plus building in 20 minutes, you're back in lack disguised as productivity. Choose 1 category per day and make 1 small piece of evidence. Mini example, 30s. On an anxious day, body wins, short walk, plus water. On an isolated day, relationships wins, 1 honest message. On a procrastination day, building wins, open and write 2 lines. You're not proving anything. You're training return and consistency. Success criterion. You don't end the day more inspired. You end the day with 1 small piece of evidence done with less desperation. When the micro action doesn't work, 3 adjustments without drama. 1. If it felt too heavy, cut it in half. If it was 10 minutes, make it 5. If it was 5, make it 2. The goal is to preserve return, not intensity. 2. If it became proof, if I do this, my life must change. Return to identity and swap results for evidence. Today you're not trying to win. You're training consistency. 3. If you forget, attach the micro action to a fixed trigger. After coffee, before shower, when opening the laptop. Practice needs a place in the day, not motivation. Mini metric. Did I do the micro action at the chosen trigger? Yes or no. That protects you from self-deception and from excessive self-criticism. Language that puts you into lack and simple swaps. A big part of wanting versus assuming happens in your everyday inner language. It's not about policing every thought. It's about recognizing patterns that push you into urgency. Useful swaps, short and practical. Instead of, I have to solve everything today, use, I only need the next step. Instead of, I have to feel good to start, use, I start small to feel a little better. Instead of, if I mess up, it's over. Use, if I mess up, I adjust and return. Instead of, this has to work, use, this just needs to be repeatable. Self-assessment metric. At the end of the day, pick one swap and ask, did I use this at least once today? If yes, you're already shifting state without inflating. Technique 3. Holding the state using feedback, without becoming a hostage to the external. When the external hasn't changed yet, that's not proof you failed. It's feedback to adjust routine and action. 2 questions that prevent looping. What changed in my state today? What small adjustment will I make tomorrow? A simple way to separate useful feedback from feedback that knocks you down. Useless feedback. Nothing changed, so I'm not good enough. Attack. Useful feedback. What did I do today that was evidence? What do I adjust tomorrow? Direction. Quick example. No romanticizing. You send a message and get no response. The mind creates a story. See? It never works. The adjustment is, okay, I did my evidence. Tomorrow I do a different microaction. I message someone else, I improve one line, or I rest and return. You don't control responses, you control consistency. The point is subtle. You don't use the external as truth about you. You use it as data. A no isn't a sentence, it's information. A delay isn't punishment. It's a sign the process needs adjustment. Common error. Using internal metrics to watch yourself with harshness. I should be better. Correction. Treat metrics like a dashboard. They're not to humiliate you, they're to orient you. Internal metrics, 4, and that's it. Return. How many times did I come back from lack to relief? Time. How long could I sustain safety, wholeness? Action. Did I do my microaction? Quality. Did I do it with presence or desperation? Honest objection. What if I'm just deluding myself with wholeness? Answer. Real wholeness doesn't make you passive. It makes you simpler and more precise. A quick test. After choosing relief, tolerance, safety, can you do one small step without theater? If yes, you're on track. If not, you're trying to skip steps. Go back to the ladder. Success criterion for this technique. When the external shakes, you spend less time in drama and return faster to adjustment. What's the next small step? A practical way to use feedback without losing yourself. The 7-day window. Instead of evaluating, changed or not, every day, ask on day 7. Did I return from lack to relief faster? Did I do more microactions than last week? Did my body stay less in urgency when something went wrong? If 2 answers improved, you're building a base. And in many cases, a base is what supports external change later, through better, more consistent choices. Common error. Trying to optimize everything at once. Correction. 1 adjustment per week. Small adjustment, good repetition. A very common trigger. Comparison, and how not to become its hostage. Many people fall into lack not because of the real problem, but because of the comparison machine. Feeds, LinkedIn, messages, numbers, and the feeling of being behind. The issue with comparison isn't information, it's the automatic meaning. If I'm not at that level, I failed. That meaning pushes you into urgency, and urgency pushes you into worse decisions. Micro-story, 20s. Anna opens LinkedIn, just to check one thing, and leaves 12 minutes later with a tight chest thinking, I have no chance. It's not a lack of ability. It's too much trigger plus no return plan. 3 simple adjustments, without creating a new ritual. 1. Time box. If you must use a network for work, use a defined time, for example 5 minutes, and a clear goal. Send 1 message. Save 1 role. Read 1 post. Don't scroll. 2. Meaning. Swap. When I'm behind appears, swap to I'm in construction. It's small, but it changes tone and reduces urgency. 3. Evidence action. After the trigger, Do one micro action that gives you agency back, 2 to 5 minutes. That's how you turn comparison into direction. Diagnostic question. Do I leave this with clarity or with pressure? If it's pressure, don't punish yourself. Return to relief and reduce the next step. Return protocol, 30 seconds, plus 4, 1-sentence variations. Base protocol. Name it, normalize, 3 breaths, choose relief, do 1 micro action. How to create a specific protocol, 20 seconds. Complete this sentence. When I drop into lack because of onkengater, I will 3 breaths, plus 1 identity line, and I will do a 5-minute micro action. That prevents the mistake of thinking about practice instead of practicing. 4 variations, 1 sentence each. Meeting. Return to relief and say only 1 clear sentence. Financial decision. Sensitive example, not financial advice. Decide after 3 breaths and 1 small organization step, not in panic. Social interaction. Enter with presence for 2 minutes, without trying to prove anything. Procrastination. Do 5 minutes of the beginning, not the perfect version. 2 mini cases, stories, but lean. Michael was about to accept a job only from fear. He paused, breathed, asked, "If I were already safe, would I accept this?" And noticed he was trying to buy relief with urgency. He decided to check 1 more option before signing and took 1 concrete micro-action, calling 1 person to ask 1 objective question. Outcome isn't guaranteed. The point was choosing with more clarity. Sarah had a hard conversation. She entered with a prepared line and a calmer state. "I want to talk about 1 specific point without fighting." When her body sped up, she returned to relief and repeated the main line. The conversation didn't become magic, but she left with more presence and less regret, and that's evidence that state changes behavior. Implementation. 1 choice. A simple 4-week plan. Total time per day, 8-12 minutes. If you don't have 8-12 minutes, don't quit. Use 2 versions. Minimum version, 3 minutes. 3 breaths, plus name, lack, plus choose relief, plus a 2-minute micro-action. Full version, 8-12 minutes. Ladder, plus identity line, plus micro-action, plus a 2-line log. Rule of thumb, on good days, do the full version. On bad days, do the minimum. What builds identity here is continuity. Week 1, make the state available. 3 min ladder, relief, safety. Plus, short identity line. 5 min 1 micro action per day. 2-line log at night. How many returns? What micro action? Common week 1 mistake. Trying to feel wholeness for 10 minutes and quitting. Correction. You only need relief to start and consistency to build. 2-line log examples, so it doesn't become a diary. Today I returned 4 times. Micro action. Wrote 2 lines and sent 1 message. Today I returned 2 times. Micro action. Walked 10 minutes and asked 1 clear question. Week 2. Cut lack triggers without isolating. Identify 1 main trigger. I drop when I see X. Create 1 specific protocol for that trigger. 1 sentence plus 3 breaths. Keep the daily micro-action sign. Week 2 is working. You still feel things, but you return to the body faster and you travel less inside the story. Week 2. Success criterion. You notice the trigger early, not only after you've already fallen. Week 3. Evidence and consistency. Do the micro-action at the same time, when possible. Increase only 10%, no hero mode. Adjust by the body, presence. Rush common week 3. Mistake. Increasing the size of the action when anxiety rises. Correction. When anxiety rises, reduce size and improve presence. Week 3 success criterion. The micro-action becomes more automatic. Less negotiation, more execution. Week 4. Intelligent adjustment. A short review. What's working? What's inflating? Swap 1 micro-action that became obligation for 1 that stays expressive. Consolidate 1 bad day proof minimum ritual. 3 minutes. Minimum ritual, 3 minutes, bad day proof. 3 breaths, plus name lack. Relief. Okay, I only need the next step. A 2-minute micro action, a beginning so small you can do it even tired. Return rule for the plan. If you miss a day, you don't start over. The next day, you do the minimum ritual and a smaller micro action. The goal is training return, not perfection. Week 4 success criterion. You can adjust without dramatizing. Adjustment becomes a skill, not a crisis. Weekly review, 5 minutes, once a week. What is easier than it was? Where do I turn it into proof and pressure myself? What's one small adjustment for next week? Illustrative example. Anna, no looping and no promises. Anna noticed she dropped into lack through LinkedIn comparison. She used the protocol, breathe relief, and kept one repeatable action. After coffee, 5 minutes of research, plus one message per week. Simple metric, 5 out of 7 days with the micro action done. What changed first wasn't the world, it was request clarity and behavioral consistency, which in many cases improves choices and increases the chances of better matches. Frequently asked questions, FAQ 2. 1. What if I can't feel wholeness? Start with relief and do the minimum physical reset. 3 breaths, plus loose shoulders, plus a 1% believable line. Then do a 2 to 5 minute micro action immediately. 2. What if I do this and don't see external results? Use the external as feedback and focus on 2 internal metrics for 7 days. Micro action done, and faster return to relief. If both improve, you're building a base. That tends to improve choices and increase probabilities over time. No promise. Direct closing, without inflating. If you remember only 3 things from this video, keep these. 1. You don't have to feel wholeness for long. You need to return more often. 2. You don't need a big action. You need one small piece of evidence per day. 3. You don't need the external to change today. You need to use the external as feedback, not as a sentence. If you're waiting for an emotional breakthrough to start, here's the inversion. In many cases, the shift comes after 3 or 4 small pieces of evidence, not before. You do the small thing, the body notices I can, and sensation changes a little. It's not linear, and it's not magic. It's training. If you want to make it even simpler, pick just one category today, body, relationships, or building, and do 1 2 to 5 minute step. That already counts as practice. No rush, with presence. And if you want to start today, with no long ritual, take 3 breaths. Name lack, without judging yourself. Choose a 1% believable line. Do a 2 to 5 minute micro action immediately. It's small, and precisely because it's small, it's repeatable. And good repetition is what turns a concept into real life. And when you drop into lack, because you will, the faster return is the whole practice happening for real. That's consistency, not perfection. If you want one metric that keeps you from getting lost, how many days this week did you do one small piece of evidence? If it's 4 out of 7 or more, you're building a base. If it's under 4, don't judge yourself. Shrink the step until it's repeatable on a bad day. If it's above 4, don't level up too fast. Keep the step small and keep the continuity. Your only job is to keep returning. Even if nothing else changes today, you change the direction of your next step. If you want, I organize the practices into a simple guide you can follow for a few days. It's in the pinned comment. Only if it makes sense for you. If you want a single sentence to take with you, relief first, then one small step. Right now. One last reminder. You don't need a perfect belief to begin. You need a small, repeatable step that leaves you a little calmer and a little clearer. That's enough for today. If you can repeat it tomorrow, you'll already be training a new pattern. And if tomorrow is a difficult day, the minimum still counts. Your work is the next step, not the whole mountain. Until the next video, bye-bye.